Hi everyone, this is Sally from Life.Is.org.au YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us today, and I'm really excited to welcome our guest Terry Maslak, who has had some really curly, interesting challenges to her well-being. She's going to share some of her story now, so please join me in welcoming Terry. Thank you, Terry.
Good morning, Sally. So, obstacles to my well-being.
Yes, what have been the biggest challenges for you?
Probably laziness, I think. I know the sorts of things I need to do for my well-being, but sometimes when you get up in the morning and it's really cold, or you just don't feel 100%, it's very easy for me to go, oh look, I'll meditate tomorrow, I'll go for a walk tomorrow, and it's always tomorrow. So I think for me that's the biggest challenge. I just fall into a lazy, slothful place.
So Terry, I seem to remember that you've had a few really huge well-being challenges, health challenges, and I just wondered if you could talk about that and how you got through that.
Yeah, I have a number of autoimmune conditions which can flare up, I guess. I can go for a period of time where I feel relatively well, and then I collapse in a bit of a heap because of the autoimmune issues. And at those times, it's really hard to motivate myself to do anything because I'm in a lot of physical body pain. So the thought of going for a walk, it's like, oh no, my feet are too painful, my knees are too painful. So, and then when that goes on, when you've got a chronic health issue, well, for me anyway, I tend over time to fall into a bit of a black hole about it all, because I lose hope that my future will be healthy.
So, Terry, I was just thinking when you were talking then, for me, I would find it really difficult to stop and slow down. I don't know if that is anything you can relate to.
Absolutely. I'm the kind of person who likes to push through if I can. So I have high expectations of myself that, I can push through this, I'll be okay. And it's very hard to give myself permission to just stop, just sit on the couch with a book, or if need be, go and actually lie on the bed for half an hour. And that's a real challenge for me, to care for my body enough that I allow the body to do what it needs to do. So yeah, for me, that's a very big one. And I think for a lot of people it is, because again, for me, I don't want to be the person that other people see as, oh, she's really sick or she's got these issues. I find it hard to allow myself to just talk about it and for other people to know.
So Terry, I was just thinking when you were talking about a couple of things. I think it's really hard for people that are givers and have been giving a lot to other people to not take on extra responsibility. That patterning is really strong, so it's hard to stop because you feel like you should be doing something else. And the other thing was just to ask you, I guess, about, you obviously are not in a black hole right now. So what you do, what's helpful for you to get out of that?
Okay. Yeah, right at the moment I'm in a happy hole, thank goodness. And when you mentioned the part about people who are givers, unfortunately, one of my traits is I'm a bit of a rescuer. I find it hard if someone that I love is struggling or going through stuff, I have this need to be able to help in some way. And it's been difficult for me to let go of that old patterning and maybe just send a text message saying, thinking of you, sending love. If you feel like talking, I'm here. and then leaving it at that and leaving it up to the other person to reach out to me rather than me, you know, constantly trying to be there for them. And I guess what I do, I've had a few issues with aging parents recently where I felt that I've needed to be there for them, end of life kind of things. And I push with my energy, and I go on to autopilot. I can be like a machine. I can do whatever needs to be done. I fix it. And then at the end of it all, which may be weeks, maybe months, I then just fall into a heap and collapse. And I've read somewhere that there's I think it's called you either boom or bust, and that's what I do. I boom or bust, which is not long term a healthy way to be.
So Terry, I guess, you know, do you think that things have shifted over time with that, as you call it, boom and bust, and how do you recover from that low energy?
Yeah, look, it's definitely changed. I think that old saying, with age comes wisdom, has felt right for me. Previously, I might have recovered by just curling up in the fetal position in bed and closing down emotionally and doing that for however long I needed to do. Nowadays, I still need that time people free. I'm sort of aware of what I need to help in that recovery now. So I might text my friends and say, look, I'm in a place where I just need me time at the moment, so I'll be in touch.
That's great, Terry. I mean, we always hope that with age comes wisdom. It doesn't always go hand in hand, but that's great that you've found some ways or mechanisms to, you know, switch off and put the energy where it's needed, I guess.
Yeah.
And I realise, and I understand that sense of, you know, sometimes it's too overwhelming and too much, and your body just needs you, so it doesn't need that other interference around.
That's right.
And you said you need a break from people, but what about other living things?
I think other is very important. I've always had animals in my life, for example, and I find animals are a great comfort both in good times and bad times. No, they just love you unconditionally. They don't care if you're sad, if you're angry. They don't care about anything other than you giving them love and them giving you love. And I find when I look into the face of a dog, for example, if I'm feeling a bit low and my little dog's there staring at me with these beautiful eyes, and I think, oh God, I don't want to, but I need to get up and take her for a walk. So that then might move me from a place of, you know, being in a slump to getting out, getting some fresh air, breathing. Very often you chat to people, you know, who you run across. So it's getting me out of that rut. And so I think animals.
Terry, I know that you've had a few animals and pets, and in particular a few dogs in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. But in particular, I would love you to share a couple of stories about, you know, your two favorite stories about your two animals that you want to share at the moment. Yeah,
sure. I mean, the one that pops into my mind immediately is that we had a big black dog, Jack. He was a cross lab German short-haired pointer type thing, very goofy and just so lovable. I was very fortunate to work in a place where I could take my dogs into the office with me, because we worked with young people and the young people really responded to having an animal there. And at work, we had a staff shower, which was just a walk-in wet room, and it was very easy to bath Jack there versus trying to put him in the laundry tub at home. So I'd stand him on the little shelf beside the shower and then give him a really good shower and scrub, and he'd come up beautiful. And I try and get rid of all these millions of little black hairs from the bathroom so that no one would know. So I cleaned up as best as I could and dried Jack off with a hairdryer, and then went back to my office. And of course, he came with me. And my boss and I shared an office, and she had a really lovely, big, comfy chair at her desk. And so Jack jumped up into her chair, made himself very comfortable, and he spent the day there. And I kind of cleaned up as best I could. Unfortunately, I think wearing glasses, my eyesight's not quite as good as it could be. And my boss came back. She went into the bathroom and she went, "Oh my God, what are all these little black hairs in the bathroom?" And I thought, oh, do I lie or do I tell the truth? And I of course told her, and she laughed and thought it was funny. Then she went to sit in her chair, and again, it was covered in all these little black hairs. So I had to explain that Jack was learning how to be an office boy. And so I was teaching him office skills in her chair. So
Terry, I believe that you had another beautiful dog called Rosie. I'm just wondering if you could share a story and perhaps your relationship with her.
Yeah, sure. Rosie was my heart dog. I don't think I'll ever have another dog who touched my heart and soul as much as she did. She was a stray. She wandered into our street. Two old ladies lived next door, and they were worried about her getting run over. So one of the old ladies trotted off down the street with a piece of rump steak out of her fridge that they were going to have for dinner tonight or that night, and coaxed Rosie home. Couldn't find owners, not microchipped, so of course we ended up with her. And she was the most beautiful little dog, weird looking little dog, a Disney kind of dog. And we would go to the local dog park every day, and it was like her second backyard. Everyone knew her down there. The staff all knew her. And there's one particular day I remember, as it would be, a staff member whose name was also Rosie was having a tea break and sitting, it was an outdoor cafe. She was sitting under a tree, relaxing, reading her book. And my Rosie went over, and Rosie, the staff member, was scratching her head. And then suddenly, for no apparent reason, my Rosie, even though she was a girl, cocked her leg and peed right down this poor lady's leg, and it filled up her shoe. And all I heard was this scream and Rosie taking off her shoe, emptying the pee out. And I thought, oh my God, thank goodness I knew her well enough that she saw the funny side of it, and everyone else saw it, and it just cheered everyone up for the day. So going to a dog park, I think, is good for the soul for anybody, because it just makes you smile, makes you happy. So, yeah. So, yeah, Rosie, when she died, it took me a long time to get over her. I can't quite put into words what it was about her. She was quite needy, but that suited, because I think I'm a little bit needy at times too, so we suited each other. So
that's a beautiful story, Tessie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Terry and Missy. Hello,
yeah.
Missy.
She wanted to be part of things.
Yeah, she's a beautiful addition, relatively new, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, what are some simple ways to spark your well-being? And you've got one of them. Well, pick up your dog.
Absolutely. Pick up a puppy and cuddle a puppy sparks your well-being. There's nothing like the smell of a puppy. Simple things. I love to have a cup of tea sitting on the back step in the sun. Even if it's a really chilly day, just something simple like sitting out there for 20 minutes with a nice cup of tea starts the day off well. If I'm in the mood to drive to the beach, hang on, Missy wants to go, so we'll put her down. I love going for a walk on the beach. Just no need to talk, just walk on the beach, feel the sand between my toes, the water. That really rejuvenates me. And if it's weather that's good for swimming, I can wallow in the shallows for hours, because it just feels like that salt water is rejuvenating my whole body. So they're some of the first things that come into mind. But even something like if I have a good book, just giving myself time to sit with no interruptions and read my book. That's, I think, for me, really important. I love just being out in the fresh air. I love walking in the rain, strangely enough. I'm happy to put on, you know, a wet weather jacket and get the dog and go for a walk in the rain, because it's, you know, it's just a lovely feeling.
There's some really good hints for everyone, and I'm sure people can relate to, you know, going for a walk, being in nature. The salt water for a lot of people is really healing, and water, you know, I find sometimes even a long shower and just imagining, you know, that you're being cleansed in other ways. So yeah, so that's great. And are there any other things that you think are important for people to remember, or that just come to you as other things that are helpful for your well-being? It's different for everyone, and at different times we need different things.
Yeah, I think it is very different for everybody. And but I think something that might be helpful for everybody is laughter. You know, again, I'm very fortunate to have some friends who love a good laugh. And I think there's nothing better than a belly laugh, where you laugh so much that your belly actually hurts. It's hard to breathe. You have tears rolling down your face, but you know, you can't help but fall into a nice, happy space when that's happening. So I think a good laugh is great. You mentioned going for a walk in nature, just being surrounded by trees. In Victoria, there's a beautiful forest of sequoia trees, and I love to go and just sit in the middle of this forest, and it's silent, it's damp, but it's so restorative.
Thank you, Tessie. I think that, you know, there are so many great ideas there, and I love that forest that you're talking about in a place in Victoria, and it is like coming to the altar in a sense, like you're sitting, you're being bathed by nature, but also I love that nature reminds us of the cycles of life, and things don't stay the same, things change. So it's really, that really helps me if I'm stuck in a funk, to know that this cycle, this will pass, you know, that nature reminds us of that. And it's just very calming to be in nature. And who doesn't love a good animal as well? Like, seriously. Yeah. And laugh, like, yeah. You know, that's that theory about laughter almost is like shaking off energy too. So animals shake to get rid of energy really quickly, to get rid of fear. Laughter is, I guess, the human equivalent of that, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, really. Yeah. Terry, Maslak, I would like to say thank you so much. Have so much gratitude for you turning up today and sharing some of your wellbeing tips and your rich life experiences. And I'm sure everyone will get benefit from that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And lots of love to you.
Thank you.